For decades, wildfire prevention and asset protection has relied on rigid, fire retardant approaches that were often reactive and harmful to the environment. And a company called CitroTech is working to change that. And with me is the CEO, Wes Bolsen, to explain what is CitroTech and what drives the company's mission. How are you changing things in this industry?
Yeah, thanks. I mean, CitroTech has the first and currently only EPA Safer Choice recognized fire inhibitor. And that's a real change for a couple of things. One is for the wildland, something that's both safe and effective to prevent wildfire, to protect assets, and even go so far as to be able to treat lumber and building materials in a way that is safer and better. And so this CitroTech fire inhibitor is a real game changer with the EPA Safer Choice designation.
So this is like a preventative
so this is something,
or how would you describe it?
Help to prevent wildfires, protect assets. We really have a product that is easy to spray, and it's very different than kind of what the legacy red stuff that people see coming out of the sky is. This is clear, can go around homes, can be put along roadsides, under power lines to prevent ignitions. It can go around homes and make it safe where pets and children can be out there, but protecting your home from wildfire.
So explain the technology. What makes it unique? I assume this is like a patented approach that you have.
Quite a few patents around. The traditional legacy retardants are often mined. It's like a phosphate if you're dropping it out of the sky, which is really a fertilizer. I mean, it goes back for 60 years. We've just been dumping fertilizers really out into the environment as a retardant. Or if you're treating lumber and wood products, you're using things like borates to treat it, make it fire retardant. What we're doing is shifting that to CitroTech being a plant-based material, something that is safe and all the ingredients are known. And this CitroTech product is able to soak into cellulosic fibers and not have to be harmful like some of those borates or other things are. And you have a product that can go out and just soak into vegetation or into cellulosic fibers. So it's really changing the way that we prevent wildfires and how we protect assets and how we make lumber and wood products even fire resilient.
So kind of explain how it works in the real world. Does a business hire you to come, home builders? How does that process work?
There's really three aspects of how CitroTech is working in the real world, and they all work collectively to provide that defense that's needed. Kind of the first area is lumber and building materials, wood products. I think CitroTech will go into new OSB board and plywood, and it will treat lumber and trusses and things like that. How we build will be different. And so real world wise, we will build homes or we'll rebuild homes after devastating things like the Palisades fire, and we'll build different in a more fire resilient way. Second, we're going out in the wildland and we're looking at in the Western United States, there's so many fires and so much tragedy that comes from ignitions that start along roadsides, under power lines, even railroad lines. And what we're saying is let's start putting CitroTech out there in a preventative, proactive manner to help prevent those ignitions so that we don't have to suppress those wildfires. And then the final piece is a system, a CitroSafe system that goes on a home. Think a sprinkler system, but doesn't spray water. It sprays a fire inhibitor that is able to, in a matter of minutes, help render that vegetation around the home non-flammable. And so we're going to shift the way in the real world that we protect homes, that we insure homes, and that we do things in a better way, in a more environmentally safe way.
So it sounds like it's throughout the whole process of a home, even before it's built and then after it's built as well, right?
Yeah, and so that's where architects and builders and home builders are coming in and saying, hey, we are putting homes in the wildland urban interface. And as homes are going out there, we need to protect those. And the fire community is saying, we have to start preventing these ignitions and protecting critical assets. And so I think CitroTech, it sprays almost like water. It looks like water. It's actually a clear. That's why we joke it's kind of a clear benefit to use CitroTech, is because it's so easy to get out there, and the environmental safety, the EPA Safer Choice designation is a big part of having a product safe and effective.
So how does this translate into a scalable business opportunity?
Sure. I mean, I see CitroTech starting to be included into lumber and building materials that are being made. I think it'll just start shipping out that instead of pressure treating lumber, which weakens lumber and building materials, I think you'll start treating it where CitroTech soaks into those cellulosic fibers of the lumber. Real world wise, it'll be like CitroTech inside, OSB board and plywood. When you make it, we'll have CitroTech inside of there. We'll start putting out, we'll have the ability to spray CitroTech 24 hours a day. And even if there's 80-mile-an-hour winds, we can be getting it out there. Whereas traditional red retardants, they can only be sprayed from sunrise to sunset and when the wind isn't too high. And those are the times we need to be getting retardants out there. So in the real world, I see CitroTech being used 24 hours a day, even in the most dangerous situations, and in an environmentally safer manner.
So looking ahead, where do you see CitroTech going from here and having the greatest impact?
Sure. I see CitroTech being able to build upon the first leg being that lumber, wood products. I think it'll become a standard. I think it'll become a standard in how we treat and how we make Class A fire-rated lumber. And we do it in a way where commercial buildings and multifamily homes, it has a UL Green Guard Gold designation where even in the presence of heat, it doesn't put off near as much smoke. And so we have safer for the humans that are building and living in those homes. And it'll become a standard for insurance companies that say, this is how we should be building, and this is how we should be protecting assets. I think that's the first way I see it kind of shifting. Mm-hmm. Second, I see aerial fire retardants and dropping things out of the sky. We can do a lot less of that if we're preventing in a proactive manner, trying to treat where those ignitions are starting. We know where about 90% of the ignitions are starting. We should be treating those areas, and we should shift how we respond to being proactive and preventative. And then finally, homeowners being able to take control in their own hands and say, I want to protect my home. Or maybe they even have to self-insure, and it's something where you would put a CitroSafe system on in order to become a standard of building and a standard for how we do things in the future.
Okay, Wes, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much.